SportsCenter.
Welcome, everyone, to a special NFL offseason report here on ESPN. Trey Wingo here to get you all squared away with what's been going on since we left you after the Pro Bowl a few months back. Coming up, we'll set you straight on all the offseason player movement and see who went where. Then later, we'll call on ESPN's NFL draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. to get the lowdown on the upcoming NFL Combine and, of course, to get his opinions on the upcoming draft in April. But first, let's kick things off here by taking a look at the guys in the last few months that have decided to call it a career in the NFL. McDaniel has decided to call it quits after a long and distinguished NFL career. 13 years he spent in the NFL, and it was a very emotional press conference when he announced his retirement. In the final analysis, this was someone that the league will be sad to see go because he truly loved to play the game. Walton has also, as you see, decided to call it a career. Now, he too was a guy that played with a lot of emotion out there, but he decides he's had enough. Burke had to fight back the tears at his goodbye press conference, but he leaves the game he loves by going out with style and dignity. Always a fan favorite in his 10 years in the league, he leaves to spend more time with his family, although it's not inconceivable that coaching could be in his future. Walsh also called it quits this offseason, and he too is a guy that'll be missed around NFL circles. Meanwhile, with NFL free agency becoming more and more competitive by the year, a number of teams had to scramble to find cap room to re-sign their own free agents, as we see here. Phillips decides to remain on board with his existing club, and he'll be rewarded handsomely for doing so. 6 years, $27.2 million. On top of that, a $5.4 million signing bonus. So they go ahead and lock him down for the next 6 seasons. And here's a signing that will do nothing but solidify this ball club. Garrett will also be staying at his old address for a while as he's locked up for the next 6 seasons. Simpson re-ups with his old mates, 6 years, $29.5 million. On top of that, a $2.9 million signing bonus. Mann agrees to an extension with his old club, as they'll stick around for at least the next 5 years. Mel?
Well, Trey, we're going to break down a few players that I think are really going to open some eyes when the Combine kicks off. Leonard is a guy that obviously most people feel is going to have a super career ahead of him. 6'6", 356, out of Iowa. We're looking at a guy that certainly has the size and strength to play the tackle position, but scouts will be interested in seeing if he's going to be mobile and agile enough to be a bookend tackle. Coleman is another guy I like, but he's going to need to check in with an outstanding workout if he really wants to move up into that elite group. He's right up there among the fullbacks now, no doubt about it. And then after the top picks are gone, people always ask me about the guys I think are the sleepers in the draft. And I really believe that there are going to be some quality prospects out there that for one reason or another are going to fall to the later round. Bell is a guy I look at that really is a pretty unsung kid, someone you haven't heard a lot about, and although the numbers may not leap out at you, I think he could conceivably be something special. Massey is another guy I look at. Maybe didn't have the greatest senior season ever, but if you're going to roll the dice on a guy, he could turn out to be a good bargain. So there's just a handful of guys that bear watching over the coming weeks. I'll be back with more as draft day approaches. Till then, I'm Mel Kiper Jr.
This is SportsCenter.
Welcome, everyone, to a special draft preview show here on ESPN. I'm Mel Kiper Jr. With the draft coming up just around the corner, it's time to take a look at some of the guys that are going to be movers and shakers come draft day. The Giants are holding on to the #1 overall pick. Obviously, they have a lot of options, but I think the consensus says they're going to go after this guy right here. 6'6", 356, out of Iowa. This is a big-time player that'll help up front. He's got size, speed, strength. He looks to be one of the few sure things in this draft. I really believe he's going to be a fixture on that offensive line for the next 10 years or so. So then, falling in line right behind him at the top spot, I think you look at a handful of guys that have the potential to be dominant players at the next level and will likely be selected somewhere in the top 10 picks in the draft. Allen is a kid that has firmly established himself as a force to be reckoned with. He had a great final season in college, a great workout, and he's generating a lot of buzz as teams may try to trade up for the opportunity to grab him. And then when you look at some guys that are going to be interesting choices for the late first, early second round, I really see some prospects that are going to be significant upgrades for a lot of teams. Curtis has first-round talent. Some questions about his size, but I really believe that this is a guy that would really make sense for a number of teams late in round one. And then this last group, for one reason or another, find themselves as second-day prospects. But there's an old axiom that says you can't make a mistake in the later round. That said, I think these are a few guys that could still provide value in the later round. Griffith is a guy that could really surprise. 6'1", 200, out of Syracuse. And when you look back on this draft a few years from now, you know they're going to be fourth or fifth rounders that turned into productive players. And I don't see why this young man couldn't be a starter at the next level. So there you have it. As always, this is a fun time of the year, kind of like hot stove football. But things should get even more interesting between now and draft day. Till then, I'm Mel Kiper Jr. We'll see you later.
This is SportsCenter.
Welcome, everyone, to a special draft wrap-up show here on ESPN. I'm Mel Kiper Jr. With the draft complete, it's time to take a look at all the shoe-ins and the surprises. Let's get it started. Jefferson was taken, no surprise, with the first overall selection in the draft. The Giants decided early on that this was their man, and they were obviously elated to bring him into the fold. He's going to be a special player, no doubt about it. Massey went with the number 2 pick, and I'll tell you what, this kid takes a lot of talent with him as he heads off to the Falcons. 6'6", 216, out of North Carolina. He had a super season last year that really helped his draft standing, and I think he'll be an impact player at this level. Yates was a guy I think that really came on strong late in his college career, and as a result, he goes with the number 10 pick. He heads off to the Chargers, and I'll tell you what, defending the pass was a definite priority for these guys, so he should be able to step right in and be a contributor from the outset. The Vikings checked in with a pick in the middle of round 1, but they had their sights set and were elated when he fell to them at 19. Howell is a guy that's got a lot of upside, and I really believe he'll be a fixture with this club for years to come. Goodwin was someone I thought might have gone a few picks earlier than he did, as he winds up going in the number 27 slot and heads off to the Seahawks. And late in the first round, you start looking for best available player. And I think anytime you get a guy that can help you up front, you've done all right for yourself. So let's do a quick recap as we focus on one team in particular that I thought had an interesting draft weekend. The Falcons knew coming in that they needed help on the offensive side of the ball, so they went out and addressed a number of needs. So that'll do it for this year. Another draft is in the books, and now the analyzing and second-guessing will begin in earnest as we get ready for the start of training camp in July. Till then, I'm Mel Kiper Jr. Thanks for joining us.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Chris Berman. Well, let's get straight to the action. In our first game this week, we had the 49ers walk away with a 6-point victory. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Lions pick up their 6th win of the year. The Jets won this contest, but will stay at the 3rd place in the AFC East. We had a big injury in this one, and Trey has the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, thanks. In front of you, we've got the AFC Infirmary Report. And as you can see, they were hit hard this week. Chapman will be on the sidelines for a while, so this defense will need to do some reshuffling in his absence. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the regular season. In front of you, we've got the NFC list, and as you can see, they could form their own MASH unit. Bowers is probably the one that most leaps out at you. A hairline fracture of the arm is the initial report, and the doctors are saying he'll be out for the rest of the season. Now, on to even bigger news, as you may have already heard. Bowers had to be placed on injured reserve this week, and his loss will hurt both the passing and the rushing game for his team. Now the big story of the day. Collins will be on the sidelines for a while, and that is not good news for his club. So that'll do it for now. Chris, let's send it back to you.
Eagles, Texans. Schneider is such a tough runner. Now splitting the backfield at the 35-yard line, and look at him stiff-arm that defender, and it opens up the hole for a touchdown. The Eagles win this one by the final score of 34-27. Rhodes stepped it up this week and gave his team some added firepower for the win. Bradley was responsible for over 150 yards rushing and helped his Steelers beat the Bills. In the Big Apple, New York, we had the Giants get sent away with a 7-point loss. Jaguars, Chargers. The 7. Shelton is a threat, certainly at the 3-yard line. Does he run it? Oh no, a little stutter step. He's right open in the flat. 6 points. The Chargers go on to win this by the final score of 45-35. Over in Ralston, Maryland, we had the Redskins get blown out by 38 points. The Bengals passed for an eye-popping 450-plus yards in their win at Gillette Stadium. We had an interesting free agency pickup of note here. Trey's got the lowdown for us. Trey?
All right, Chris, let's switch gears and talk about players that'll have new homes in the National Football League, as free agency continues to play such a huge role in determining a team's makeup. Graham is going to find himself with a new club, and he'll be in a new tax bracket, too. 4 years, $2.6 million. Myers got snatched up as well, and he signs a 2-year contract with the Bengals. Chavez will be on the move. You see it there. He'll be getting a nice little payday, too. 4 years, $3.8 million. Hubbard will also have a new address for a while as he signs a 4-year contract with the Rams.
Bears, Cowboys.
Signs a
Buchanan's in the backfield. The ball is at the 40-yard line, and the lead man throws a block, shakes off one tackle, bounces outside it. Now it's a foot race. The 10, the 5, touchdown. The Cowboys go on to win this by the final score of 47-44. The Chiefs lost their last game of the season on the road. In a long-standing NFC rivalry, we had the Panthers pick up win number 7. The Saints lost this one, but will stay at number 1 in the NFC South. Cardinals, Browns. NFC number 42.
In the backfield, the ball is at the 40-yard line, and the lead man throws a block, shakes off one tackle, bounces outside. Now it's a foot race. The 10, the 5, touchdown.
The Browns win this one by the final score of 47-24. And in our final game, we had the Seahawks come away victorious.
All right, Chris, thanks. All right, folks, our playoff picture has now been officially finalized. So let's take a look at it now, shall we? We'll begin with a look at the AFC.
And then there were 12, the playoffs, right around the corner, which means it's time for our regular season awards. But first, my primetime players. The final round of game balls go to these Warriors, each with a standout performance in the final game of the regular season. All right, as promised, here's a look at this year's best of the best, our season-ending NFL awards. Wilkins, without a doubt, is going to take home the hardware in this one. You see the numbers on your screen, but numbers really don't tell the whole story. Leadership, work ethic, love of the game, that's what truly makes him stand out. He had, without question, the best year of anyone. Howard has got to be our choice for Offensive Player of the Year, and you've got to be hard-pressed to find better numbers than that. Obviously, give a lot of credit to the rest of the offense, but this is the guy that was driving the car, so to speak. Douglas gets the nod as our Defensive Player of the Year. I think when you look at this award, you think of guys that can really excel against either the run or the pass, but this guy can do both. What a year he had. Hale comes away with the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. While being thrown into the starting running back position straight out of college, all right, it raised some questions, but he silenced everyone with nothing short of a remarkable season. Harris is our Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's hard to think of another defensive back the last few years that's come in and made this type of impact. He'll be something special down the road. Number 42 ran away with the rushing title this year. Talk about a threat out of the backfield, my friends. Finesse, speed, a surprising amount of power, which he used to bowl over the few who actually managed to lay a finger on him. What a year. That'll do it, sports fans. I'm Chris Berman, and thanks so much for joining us here in the Bristol studios. We'll see you next week right here on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.